Full disclosure, I have now filmed this intro like 4 times. It's fine. Hopefully I'm in focus, hopefully I'm in frame, and the rest will just have to fall into place. Welcome to my channel. My name's Sarah if you guys are new here. If you're coming over from Erika's channel, welcome. This is a collaboration video with my best friend Erika over at Erika Deocampo. Of course, I will link her channel above and below and have her craft video for you guys. Today's video, I believe, was Erika's idea. We are going to be doing three Hocus Pocus themed crafts. And this is also kind of like a Cricut versus silhouette challenge. So she has a Cricut, I have a silhouette, and we both use them today on these crafts, some of the crafts that we're doing. If you guys don't have a die cut machine, don't click out of this video. I do give you guys kind of like a cheater's method to getting around it. And I also have some previous tutorials that show you guys what you can do if you don't have a Cricut or anything like that. The crafts that we are doing today, one of them is kind of the same, but we each put our own spin on it, and then the other two are unique. One of them is actually right behind me, and it's probably my favorite one. I actually wanted to make this last year. This is totally Dollar Tree materials. I'm not going to keep blabbering on because I tend to make intros way too long. Be sure to head over to Erika's channel after you watch my video, and let's get into this tutorial. So I'm going to start off with a tutorial I've done on my channel before, but I'm going to do it in a little bit of a different way. I'm going to be taking these 3 books and decorating them to say amuck, amuck, amuck. So I'm going to take these 3 super old books I got at like a resale shop, some stickers from the Dollar Tree, white chalk paint, black chalk paint, and 2 sponge brushes from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start off by painting the spine of the book white. Mine are super tattered and torn, which I loved, but the downside is that getting it all actually painted is kind of difficult. So you will see some red poking through on my books. I was totally okay with it. I thought that it just gave it some more character, if you will. But just take that white chalk paint and paint the spine. The reason I don't use acrylic paint is because it takes a lot more coats of paint. And then I'm taking these Dollar Tree stickers that I found that kind of look like a typewriter font, and I'm just spelling out amuck. I did Google the word amuck because I wanted to make sure I spelled it right. So I am putting amuck on all of the books. This did only, I'm trying to remember, I already had 2 packs of these stickers, but just make sure whatever you guys are wanting to spell out that you buy enough stickers to spell it all out, because I know that my older sticker sheets were out of A's. So yeah. I'm just gently placing these down, trying to do my best lining them up, and then just kind of going over them with my finger to make sure that the edges are really sealed onto the book. Then I'm going to take my black chalk paint, and this is the Waverly ink black chalk paint, and my sponge brush, and I'm just dabbing over the letters. Make sure that you're dabbing and not wiping, because that's going to give it a much better coverage. And make sure that you don't accidentally like peel up one of the stickers while you're painting. And then I am just now going to paint the entire book black. You are going to see me kind of skip the centers of the book just because they're going to be stacked on top of each other and you're not going to see them anyway. Something you also want to keep in mind with the books is you do kind of need to paint the inside of the cover a little bit. Otherwise that color of the book will poke out when you stack them. So just kind of opening it up and painting on the inside. Now, I did decide to peel my letters off before the paint had dried. I've learned that this is usually a better method. However, I did glob a little bit too much paint on this first book. You can actually still see it in the camera that it's wet. So I would say just wait a little bit longer, just till the paint is no longer shiny. That's what I did on this book, and these stickers came off so much easier. And they left nothing behind. Now, I do distress my books, so even though it made a little bit of a mess on the first one, it's really not a big deal. If you're wanting clean, crisp letters, though, you do have to wait for your paint to mostly dry. Now, the final thing that I did for my books is I wanted to wrap them in something, and I did try to use the leftover material I had last year from my Sarah costume, as well as my Sarah Mickey ears that I made. I have both of those videos linked below if you're interested, but I had this red lace and this purple velvet, and then I also had some light pink ribbon. I tried this a lot of different ways, and I cut most of it out just because I didn't want to bore you guys, but overall, I just wasn't super happy with how it was turning out, so I just decided to do something super simple. I found this purple ribbon with kind of like an iridescent edge to it, and I just decided to wrap the books in like how you wrap a present, kind of with ribbon. So I'm just kind of doing a little cross and then tying it in a bow. And then to add just a little bit more detail to this, I had this Dollar Tree pack of glittery spiders. And of course I had the purple ones, and so I decided to add a spider to the top of my book. Now, I did not glue down my spider. I just didn't want to, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, because I was like, well, if I change my mind later, I don't want it attached. So I am just placing mine on. I did at one point try to like tie it into the bow, but I just liked how it looked placed on top in the end. That's pretty much it for the first tutorial. This is how they turned out. I do think that they're super cute, and I loved adding the spider because I have the Funko of Sarah where she's holding the spider. So the second craft is going to be something with the Billy Butcherson waking curse. I had this Dollar Tree glass candle votive, and then I also had this wooden tray. I know it has stars on the side, but we're going to get that covered up. So I'm going to start by painting mine black. However, what you should do is sand your tray first, because I skipped that step and it does kind of bite me in the butt later. So I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, but you're going to want to sand it first. So I'm just taking this sponge brush and what's left of this little tiny bottle of ink Waverly chalk paint. Again, you guys, I know I use chalk paint, but it's like $1 more than acrylic paint, and you use so much less of it that it's like you're really not paying more money. But once you have the tray and the votive painted, and yes, the chalk paint does work on glass. That's the other reason I love it. It's like multi-surface. So I've got these all painted black now, and then I printed out this copy of the curse. I did just type this on a Google Doc and just found a font that I liked and printed it out. I did measure the tray and tried to get it as close as I could to the measurements of the tray, but I do end up having to trim it. So I just made sure that my text was much smaller than the box. That way, if I needed to shrink it down, I could, or if I needed to use the whole thing, I could. And then I just traced the tray onto my paper, and now I'm just going to cut it out. And then I just tried it out in the tray, and whatever I needed to trim off, I just continued trimming. The thing is, if you do trim it a little bit small, that's okay, because of how we're going to attach this and the fact that it's painted all black, you really wouldn't be able to tell. But now I'm going to take it out. I'm going to apply Mod Podge to the back of the paper and the tray. If I did this again, I don't think that I would put it on the back of the paper. I think I would only put it in the tray. And then I do end up getting quite a few wrinkles. I actually ended up liking it because it made it look kind of like more Halloween-like, like worn and weathered. But that's what I was talking about with sanding the tray. So if you want yours to be totally smooth, just make sure that you sand down the tray, because then you won't get the wrinkles and stuff that I did. And then again, I would put a generous amount of Mod Podge into the tray, and then just make sure you smooth it out. If you can still see the white really strongly, then you do want to keep brushing it. Mod Podge does dry clear unless it's like a glob. If it's a glob of Mod Podge, it will dry white. And then to cover up the opening, the hole on the votive, I just took this black felt that I had on hand, and I'm cutting out a circle of it, and I'm just going to glue that on top. This is just going to provide a little base to where I can attach my tray. You could do this without doing the candle votive thing. I hope I'm using that word right. I don't actually know if that's what this is called. It's fine. You could just use the tray, but I wanted mine to stand up higher, so I decided to add a little base. But I just hot glued that little piece of felt down, and now I'm going to apply more hot glue. You do want to check where your tray falls on the votive, because it is a little bit wider than the tray, and I wanted the part that sticks out to be on the back so that you can't really see it when it's displayed. And then in that star, I am applying a ton of hot glue just to reinforce it. And then I got this creepy cloth, that's what it's called, from Dollar Tree, and I'm just cutting off a random swatch of it, and I'm going to hang it off the top and then hot glue it onto the bottom. This is partially what I'm using to cover up those stars that were on the sides of the tray, and also I just think it adds to the zombie kind of creepiness of it. And that pretty much does it for this little tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought it turned out pretty cool. You guys can see that white kind of smearing on it. That's because I took my finger and rubbed the Mod Podge. If you don't want that to happen on yours, then just don't touch it. Just use like the squeegee of the brush. And then also, if you're interested in that little green potion that I made, I am going to be posting a little mini tutorial for that on my Instagram, so make sure you're following me at DreamItDIY. This next project, you're going to be needing 3 of these black shadow boxes. They come with like a circle in the middle, and then you're just going to kind of pop that off. Do try to be really gentle popping it off, because we actually are going to have to use the back of it, not the front, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I basically popped off that circle and then ripped out the little square that was inside. And then there is a little bit of a bump in the center, but it's okay. You're not going to see that once we glue all this back together. So this little circle, I originally paint the front black and then added my little like sticker silhouette vinyl thing, and it ended up just ripping off the paint. I did it more than once. I tried it different ways. So go ahead and just paint the back of it. That works a lot better, and I had no issues with it when I painted the back. For the insert to this shadow box, I printed off these squares that I made that say, I put a spell on you. The Sarah one says, amuck, 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 over and over again. And then the Mary one says, I smell children, repeating. And then the Winifred one I did in straight lines. And then the Sarah and the Mary ones I actually put at angles, because I knew that I wanted these 3 things to be displayed together. So I'm going to remove the little hook on the back of this shadow box. Good for you, Dollar Tree. Like, I actually had to go get a screwdriver for this. I couldn't just rip it off. And then I'm going to pop out the back of this. Just do it gently and kind of go side by side. It is actually pretty well glued in there, but it does come off pretty easily. So then I'm going to take this Mod Podge and apply it to the back. Using a paintbrush, I'm just kind of spreading it out on the back of this. And then I am going to add a little bit more, because you do want to use a pretty good amount just to make sure you've got a nice adhesion between the paper and the backing. So I'm flipping my paper upside down and then just lining up the backing, and I'm just going to push down really hard on this to make sure that it's adhered nicely. And the good news is the Mod Podge does not dry instantly, so you do have a second to like shift it if it kind of got uneven or tilted or something like that. I do have some wrinkles at the center, and that's just because of those little bumps I told you guys about. But again, that's going to get covered up. Nobody will see it. It's no big deal. And then I'm just trimming off the excess that I have on this little piece of paper. And now my backing is pretty much ready to go. I am going to smooth it with my finger a little bit. You do kind of have to work quickly, just because the glue will start to dry, and then you won't really be able to get those wrinkles out. But this is my first one, what it looked like with the words inside. And then this is the Mary one, the I Smell Children. I'm going to give you guys a close-up. My Winifred one definitely came out the most wrinkled. The other 2 came out pretty smooth. Okay, so this is what it looked like when it ripped off the paint. So I went ahead and painted the back of it. Now, if you guys can see a little bit of the, like, I don't know what to call it, like it ripped essentially when I popped it off of that little cube in the center. It did get a little bit damaged, so that you can't see it. I did cut these out on my silhouette, and I have a tutorial for you guys on how you can get around not having a silhouette or a Cricut. Basically, you just print out the silhouette of this on paper, and then you color the back of it with a pencil, and then you flip it over onto the thing you want it to end up on, and you just press down really hard with your pencil, tracing it, and then when you lift the paper up, the pencil will be left behind, so that you can go in and kind of just paint it with a paintbrush. If what I just said made no sense, then I will link that tutorial for you guys, but you do not need a silhouette to cut out these silhouettes of their hair. This next step that I'm doing, I actually misplaced the little cubes that came in the shadow box to prop up the little discs. So I had this little bag of Dollar Tree cubes. This was just from their woodcraft section. It's the same basic concept. I'm just gluing these down, and then I'm going to apply some hot glue to the top of the cube and press the disc on top. You could just glue the disc directly onto the paper, but then it won't have that shadow box kind of like 3D effect. So yeah. This is what I did. Either don't misplace your discs or pick up the little Dollar Tree bag of discs, or cubes, not discs. I'm sorry, guys. And then obviously I just repeated these steps for Sarah and for Mary's shadow boxes, and I really love how these turned out. Now I will warn you guys, I was able to cover up the damage for the most part with Winifred's hair and Mary's hair, But Sarah's hair, because of how it's outlined, you can see the little damage mark in the center. So if that's going to bother you, just really take your time and be careful taking that disc off the cube, or on the front of it where it said like "Good Morning Gorgeous" or something, you could try to peel that paper off, and then maybe that would give you a smoother surface. The last thing I want to show you guys is different ways you could set these up. I'm not gluing mine together because I kind of like the versatility of being able to stack them different ways. I did decide to do this little pyramid stack, and then also another option would be to just stack them vertically. I like the ability to like change the shaping of it because depending on where you're displaying it, you might want it shorter or taller. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Give this video a like and please share it with your friends. It really does help my channel grow and continue on. Thank you so much for leaving me comments and all of that stuff. I love responding to you guys and rating them. And then before we go, can we just appreciate my Hocus Pocus shelf? Dreams do come true. If you guys are curious about any of the crafts behind me, most of these do have tutorials that I've already done on my channel. I will have my Hocus Pocus craft playlist linked after this video and in the description box below for you guys. Also, can we talk about my shirt that I made myself? I'm Sarah Sanderson. Okay, I'm gonna stop being weird now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to head over and watch Erika's video, and I'll see you guys in my next. Bye.